The heavy weapon is ready to fire. At 500 lines in this CRT, it's quite the beast in specification. It supports multi-format of 1080i 720p, interchangeable cards, various inputs. Let's have a look inside around the back and then turn it on and see how the Ikegami performs. The size comparison to a rival Sony BVM on the left. The BVM has a mask over the CRT, a widescreen mask. It actually has a 4x3 tube inside. However, it is only 20 centimeters in size, whereas the Ikegami is surprisingly slightly bigger at 22 centimeters. Width-wise, the Ikegami is a whisker bigger. The Sony is shorter. Weight of the Sony, 9.45 kilos. The Ikegami is heavier at 10.7 kilos. I'm not sure what the two thumb screws in the top of the case do. They're not attached to anything inside. Perhaps there's a sun visor you can get for outdoor viewing out on set. Looking at the extensive controls on the Ikegami, power on off with a green LED indicator, a degauss button, a setup button. Now the setup button may correspond with this mini DIN socket on the bezel here, which is where the auto setup probe connects into for calibrating the CRT. These four buttons here are for selection of inputs, analog, A, B and SDI. It's also probably menu navigation with up, down and left and right. There's three buttons above that and they read menu, pre and escape. So call up your menu, get out of your menu. Then we have mono screen, mark, channel B, utility, aspect, underscan, PCR. These four knobs here are for adjusting picture, chroma, brightness, contrast and audio. So it looks like the monitor has audio inside. These buttons can be rotated left and right. They're knobs that can be rotated left and right, but also they can be pressed in, which sets it instantly to its neutral value. So if you want precision neutral default values, you can just push the knobs in instead of rotating them. But if you want control and fine tuning, you can pop them out and then rotate as need be. Moving up to the top, in the center or in the middle, we have the tally lamp, which tells the operator who's viewing the monitor that either you are on air or off air. It might be green when it's lit, indicating filming or broadcast is active. It can also indicate errors. The Sonys do that, they turn red for faults. Interestingly, all this arrangement over here, all these little white rectangles, this is actually a module, the DAM-508 audio level indicator, and it's an 8-channel audio level indicator, and it ties in with one of the boards at the back for the HD SDI serial digital interface. That's a broadcast standard, but you must be able to pump 8 channels of audio through and monitor the sound levels as it goes up and down from 0 to 60 on all the 8 channels. This left side column of BNC connectors, although it is removable, it's not as removable as the two cards on the right. They can actually just unscrew and pull out, whereas this card needs the lid off. It's more of a permanent card by the look of it. And it'll take in, it's got 2 sets of RGB input with sync, so I would say that that line there will take component as well as SCART RGB. Obviously you've got to adapt from SCART or RCA into BNC to get into that. The next card is the DE-1051A, which is an NTSC and PAL card. There's 2 inputs, in, out. Glad it's PAL as well. I didn't know if this thing could handle PAL or not. Then the third, or the second card, actually is the DKM-1051AVD. This is your HD SDI card, 422, channel A and B, and also an output monitor out. And then there's provision for audio with those 4 BNCs there that ties into those LED, or that counter on the front, the audio indicator. Channel 1 and 2, channel 3 and 4, channel 5 and 6, channel 7 and 8. There's 2 per BNC. There's remote control via BNC, and there is a remote control, like a handheld remote for this monitor that can plug into this, and you can control the monitor from the remote control. Parallel port, also similar, that can be hooked up. It's a VGA connector, but it's not going to take VGA signal, I can assure you of that, but you can also, I think, control the monitor through that one as well. This is one way to power the monitor with his XLR type connector setup. The Sony's also use this type of connector in a few models. You can power it with 12 volts. It'll take good amperage at 8.7 amps to power the monitor through the 12 volt socket, and there is a circuit breaker there. Then of course there's the IEC connector. This is not multi-volty in the sense that I know it as. It's only 100 to 120 volts. Japanese import. You can actually see a Japanese sticker up here with a phone number on it. Fan. Fortunately, it is 100 to 120, not strictly just 100. So if you have an American step down, you should be able to operate that. Its cycling is 50 to 60 hertz per second. That's the power AC cycle. Absolute weapon inside. The fan's directly in shot where I'm pointing, and I'm going to put the microphone near it. You can hear a bit of sound comes out of it. The flyback transformer, it's dual focus. Dual focus even for this small tube, plus the screen pot adjustment. Fairly dense, fairly packed in electronics. The tube, we can't read the label. I have read it, but I can't just show you direct because you've got the cable, you've got the frame in the way. It is a Panasonic M22 JHD01X/E01. High quality monitor grade Panasonic, 22 centimeters in size. I don't see any magnetic strips or magnets placed on the tube. Sure, you've got the yoke wedges, but not actual magnets applied to it. I'd say the quality of the tube's that high that anything that required further adjustment with external magnets was rejected. That back PCB, that's labelled the video board on the back. That's the one that concludes on the end where the RGB goes in. So that is permanent. You're not taking that out for a quick interchange. Whereas the two removable boards, two truly removable boards, you can see the cage or the cradle where they go into, so you know that they are removable, and I will take those out soon. Tilting the monitor over, this is the deflection board. Component side of the deflection board, there are some very small trimmers that can adjust screen properties, but this monitor should, I imagine, have its screen properties for the end user adjustable via the on-screen display, which we might see later when we get to that point. Other side of the monitor, laying down the video board, the one that takes the RGB, plastic piece across there to insulate it, same as the other side. The thumb screw's undone, I can pull the card out. This is the NTSC PAL board removed, so it takes composite video. You've got to go from RCA into BNC to plug in, of course. Flat surface mount components on that side, shielding on the other side, and then on the inside more surface mounts, but a lot of caps and bigger chips. So double-sided board, edge connectors, HD SDI boards out, same deal, flat surface mount components, flip it over, two edge connectors, huge load of surface mount caps, metal shielding on top, flat PCB inside it like a sub PCB. Man, they got a lot of stuff going on in them, haven't they? I'm about to power up the monitor. Watch the lights, watch the audio lights at the top. I think they must do a self-test check. Pairing up. Look, they're all lit up. And then they'll disappear, and then I think just the end ones come on. Yeah, like that, bit of a standby indicator, and the monitor is now visible. There's some text on screen. Menu, very sharp image. Working my way slowly through the Ikegami, learning its menu systems. There's 7 pages. This first one you can change, say, the RGB to component or SD to HD, so you get your 480i or your 1080i, things like that. Second page has got some more options. It's this version 2.0. Page 3 looks like a save page, save your settings in a profile. Page 4, now I need to get access into this one. I don't know how to do that yet, and that's for geometry and color drive adjustments. I want to get in for the geometry adjustments. Menu 5 is a password to lock things, so it can't be modified. Ikegami's default password is exit. Page 6 is for the auto probe calibration, automatic white balance, 6500K color, 9300K color. Audio menu 7, which is connected to the LED display up top. In fact, you can actually dim it. Now you can lower it down, mid, low, and turn it off in case you get that distracted by it, you don't like it, your OCD, whatever, you can get rid of it. But I'm going to leave it on for now because it's very unusual. We don't see things like that much. I've got the PAL NES via Composite hooked up. The screen's picture is a bit too far to the right. I haven't got around that yet. However, it's a good time to demonstrate what I can show at this point. There's that color knob being adjusted. So say I put it black and white, I can push it in and go to the neutral default position, as I said before, quick instant reference point. But I'm not really happy with the neutral position, so I might just boost it up as an example. There's our brightness, max brightness, dim brightness, default position. Just go up a bit. And then there's our contrast. That's the default contrast, pretty low in a way, isn't it? Maybe you get the point. Now, with these other buttons on the front, these 8 here, I'm just going to go through and push those and see what happens. All right, so that didn't help us. That's some audio channel button. That's our underscan button. Back to 4.3, 16.9, 4.3. Mono, just black and white button. Then there's a filter, so we can just have red come through, green come on, or blue come on. Underscan. Oh, it's another type of underscan. There's 2 buttons for underscanning. HV delay, as Sony names it. A few different angles you can do with it. And there's a marker, on-screen marker, again, something else that's used in the studio. And there's a lot of different presets available. You could use that pattern there as a crosshatch. I mean, that's pretty good, isn't it? You got a built-in crosshatch pattern like that. You can do your convergence and geometry from that alone. If I turn the NES off, you've got to have something plugged in to get that to come up across. Come on, and then marker off again. Mandatory light gun tests. I haven't got the sound hooked up okay. Haven't got the sound hooked up. 2 birds with 1 stone, excuse the pun. Light gun test and PAL composite test. Alright, no surprise the light gun works, of course. It's going to work on this. And that's a pass. As far as this centering problem is concerned, I found out all you have to do is press preset, then scroll across, and we'll get to the centering values that we want to change, and go back to about 50%. So for whatever reason it was set outside probably its normal, fairly normal mean. So that'll do just for now, but that gets it centered, so that's fine. That's what I want. Just remember, if the monitor's locked and you press preset to change those changes that I just did, you'll get all lock if you're locked. So I said it before, but what you need to do is go to this menu 5 and then enter the word exit, typing in exit. So push across to get it off, all lock, unlock, and then we want to save that pusher menu, and that should do it. It should be unlocked now. So if we go out, escape, push preset, yeah, we're back into adjustment capability. Also, to get that harsh, white, sharp edges that I talked about off, I had the thought of turning the comb filter off. It just came to me before, and that solves it. That's really good now. That's perfect. So the picture is looking pretty damn good now. It's got the Saturn NTSC running in composite video. I've still got that picture moved over to the right. There's a button cell battery there. That's why the monitor is not saving my settings, because that battery will be flat. Also, I'm having a bit of trouble with a horizontal collapse occurring every now and then. It's plagued me throughout the video so far, but it's been more prolific with NTSC source like this now. Also, I've got the sound working. I missed that at the start. It's simply a RCA jack on the back at the top left corner. So that's got that solved. So we've got sound. So we're getting through the problems, but this horizontal collapse is a bit of an issue. I've pretty much got to stay at a 50 Hz refresh rate. So I've moved on to the PlayStation 2 via Component, and I'm playing the PAL version of this Namco anniversary game. A little bit of Rolling Thunder. Prepare to qualify. Look at this. Where's gear change? Oh. That's it. It's good graphics for its time, isn't it, this game? Not so much in the good driving, however. Still on the PlayStation 2, I've added Soul Calibur 3 to the arsenal because of this PAL 50 and 60Hz choice, but I'll stick with 50, given the restrictions we're under. Soul Calibur 3. Oh yeah, I'll go Ivy to get some more of the, what is it? Wiggle physics, juggle physics. I've said it before, but I'll say it again, very detailed. You'd think you'd be playing PS3 here with this game with its detail. High TVL in the tube. Compressed image down into this small sized CRT. Very sharp image, just all combines together to look very detailed. Very nice. I've got the colour up at maximum. You can't really oversaturate it. It just won't do that, not like this. Maybe it's had a fair few hours used and it's worn it down a bit too, but it's definitely not too rich in colour at maximum here in Component on the PS2. Oh, we've got a bit of wobble in the carpet on the floor. Transparencies in the wall. Another game, Jack 3, that I've just acquired for the collection. This has some interesting video options in it, still on the PS2. Graphic options. Center screen, not unusual at this stage in the console generations. Very common. Aspect ratio, widescreen, 4:3. Video mode, 60 Hz. Now, I can't go to that because we'll get the collapse in the screen, but even progressive scan is a little bit of a technical one because the support on this monitor for all 480p is a bit questionable. So I can turn it on and we get that mess on screen, and I can fiddle around in here a little bit, but I haven't yet been able to resolve progressive scan. I assume the game is going to go to 480p. Here on the PS2, although some games can go higher, it's not too many in-game will support higher than 480p, I imagine. 480p is a little bit of a mystery on this monitor, as the manual has no reference to 480p at all, nor does the part talking about the analog RGB card. There's no mention of 480p there either. One of the Ikegami brochures mentions 480p as optional on this monitor. If you do some searching on the net, you'll find that people have discovered that one of the boards, a remote board, which is not in this model, contains dip switches that can activate 480p on various Ikegami models. So 480p is a little bit cloudy for Ikegami, unfortunately. I think it's prudent to go with a test pattern generator right now. I've got that grid pattern up and it's very square. I've noticed a red tinge on the right side of the white lines on the right side of the monitor, but I think that's due to me shifting the monitor about since starting the review. It needs a good degaussing to fix that. Color bars. Well, the Xbox 360 has certainly turned out to be a good console to test on this monitor right now, because I've got it at 480p. I've got 480p locked in, which was this elusive resolution to know was compatible with the monitor. I think the key here is that we can lock the console into PAL 50 or 50 Hz refresh rate, yet still have 480p running, and I haven't had any horizontal collapse because we're still in 50 Hz and not 60. So I'll double a bit more and we'll go up to 720p. Now I've got to juggle the monitor here. The problem I've got with 720p and 1080i is that the Xbox 360 wants to test both those resolutions at 50 Hz and 60 Hz. If you get a fail in either one, you don't get a pass. So I'm restricted to 480p right now. At least we've got that. I've run into another hiccup. A lot of these games won't support PAL 50, they need PAL 60. There's the warning, and it just takes me straight back out. I'm going to have to keep shuffling through and see what I can get. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go back into like PAL 576i, like just PAL 50 Hertz, not anything progressive. Oddly, the only game that works in 50 Hertz in my little selection is the Simpsons Arcade ROM. Not exactly a modern sort of super detailed 3D game to show, but it is working nonetheless. I'm going to have to wrap the video up because I'm quite restricted without 60 Hertz content being compatible with this faulty monitor at the moment. I've managed to play Street Fighter 4. I'm just in PAL 50 Hertz. I'll just take what I can get. I have played around with the colours a little bit, but I can't quite get it to where I want the colours to pop a bit. Ken's looking a bit dark. It really needs a proper colour calibration on this monitor. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to display a lot of 60 Hertz content, so I can't really take the monitor thoroughly through what it's capable of, but needless to say, you would want to pick it up if you saw it around, just by virtue of being professional, Ikegami, quite modern, multi-format, very capable. I've shown you some of its capabilities, not fully, but some of it. So I hope you've enjoyed the video. A little bit limited, but quite a rare monitor, so nice to see what it can do, at least to some degree. Thank you for watching.